Everybody hear me all right? Okay, I'm going to focus obviously on the planning side of this and I make a few basic comments. And David took me back to December 3rd of 2003. Some of you were in the council chamber when I stood up for the first time as the chief planner and stated my planning views why I was opposed to the fixed link. And I said to council, it's the wrong thing to do. You don't need to bring your car over there to catch a flight. But more important, I reminded council of this, and I said, but be careful. Monitor the growth of that airport over the next 10+ years, because it will get out of hand and it will create huge impacts that will be very, very difficult to deal with. Well, that day has come. So given that reality that we're all here about, I would say this: the focus of good city planning is usually about providing solutions to current problems and developing ideas for the future. You have to do both. And we have an opportunity here to do exactly that, because we have existing problems, as we all know already. We don't have to think about the future, because it'll only get worse. So with that in mind, I've got 5 points I want to put on the table. These are the questions that council has to answer, because they're going to make a 100-year decision if they allow this expansion. First, balance. The waterfront is key because no one use dominates. It has a mix of a wide variety of activities. We all know what they are, so I won't go into those in detail now. The second issue is scale, size, and the ground operations associated with the airport. It's already creating huge conflicts. If it grows to the 4.3 million passengers, those problems will be exacerbated in a huge way. To give credit to Porter, we all know they've built a niche airline which services what I call the briefcase set. It doesn't serve the vacation traveler. Totally different implications that I'll talk about a little later this evening. The third point I want to make is that this is more than just the noise issue. And I want to caution everybody, don't just focus on the noise. It's real for sure, but there are many other conflicts, many other impacts, both on Bathurst Quay and for implications for the central waterfront that we have to address. One of the things that it shocked the hell out of me, frankly, was the proposal actually to demolish the Harborfront School and Community Center to make way for parking. Like, how insane is that? The fourth point, the planning policy framework. I'm very proud of this. 2 things we did when I developed the official plan for the amalgamated city. One of them was put in specific policy number 194. It's in my brain. It requires the airport operations to comply with the tripartite agreement, and that improvements to the airport's facilities have no adverse impact on the surrounding community. I deliberately put that test into the official plan. That test has to be met. The second planning framework that I think is relevant is something else I was proud of developing, the Central Waterfront Secondary Plan, many of you know, called Making Waves. It was different because it was a principles plan, and it had 4 core principles that council adopted under Mel Lastman unanimously, which never happens at City Council. And here they are. The first, removing barriers and making connections. The second principle, building networks of spectacular waterfront parks and public spaces. The third was promoting a clean and green environment. And the fourth was to create a dynamic and diverse communities across our waterfront. Council embraced those unanimously. So my question for council is, why in God's name, just 10 years later, would you substitute that unanimous public vision for a private vision? Doesn't make any sense. And the very last point I want to make is perhaps the most important in my view, and that's what I call loss of control over the future of our waterfront. We only have one waterfront, and if we let it run away from us and get destroyed in this process, we will never go backwards. There's no opportunity to do that. Here's my concern. If the runways are expanded and jets are allowed, I guarantee you there will be other airlines that want to be there, and there will be more jets and more competition. And the whole implication of people wanting to fly to Florida with their kids for Disney World for a week and all the luggage that goes with that, all those operations are totally different than the briefcase set group. And I think that if that ever happens, we will run up against incredibly powerful market forces that will frankly make City Council almost impossible. to control the future expansion of that airport. That's what concerns me most. So that's why this is critical, and I'll have more to say later.